Thank you, Lewis. Simon Says is a childhood bereavement charity that was set up 24 years ago in a little village just outside of Southampton called Hamble. The circumstances of the charity being created was that a young teacher called Simon Stanley was very sadly diagnosed with terminal bowel cancer. His wife Sally and Simon looked around for some support for their young boys. Simon was a local teacher. He was extremely popular. I still meet people today who say, "Hey, I was taught by him," or "I taught my cousin." He seems to have been an inspirational man. And all his colleagues and pupils and friends and family, they raised some money so that the family could make the most of the last time they had together. Very sadly, Simon died quite quickly. There was a little bit of money left over, and with that, Sally started Simon Says 24 years ago. With our remit 24 years later is to support children and young people who have lost someone close to them. Most children come to us because they've lost a parent, but we also support children that have lost a best friend, an aunt, an uncle, and we've got three main missions. One is our helpline, which is free to access Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, and anyone can call that. You don't have to just be South Coast based. Our volunteer helpline operator is extremely experienced and can signpost callers in the appropriate direction, which might be to our second mission, which is to provide support groups throughout Hampshire. And we have 8 up and down the county, including one in New Milton, just over the border from where you are.
Okay.
And the last mission is to support schools and colleges up and down the region. Surprisingly, shockingly, no legislation for schools to have a bereavement policy. So when a child is bereaved, your school's probably the second most important thing in a child's life, the most time they spend there. And some schools are brilliant handling bereaved children, and some, I'm afraid, even today, I've had some not great stories.
Anonymity stands, of course, but are there any sort of stories you can tell us about sort of experiences you've had of the charity really helping people out?
Quite a few spring to mind. I mean, I'm going to change names, obviously. I'll call her Tara, and she came to us very, very quiet, 13-year-old, didn't say anything at the groups at all. But she did keep coming month after month. Very sadly, her mother had taken her own life in lockdown. She was estranged from her father. He stepped up and she moved in with her dad. She had to move schools and areas as well. Very traumatic time for her. But she kept on coming back. And then one day, that group was on a Saturday, and it was a Saturday before Mother's Day. Somebody said, it's such a difficult time. And she just opened up and said, how difficult it was. That not only had her mother died, but it was by suicide. She just made some amazing friends, almost became a mentor as the years went on to the younger children, and even organised a fundraising event for us, which raised £3,000 for us. So it's tangible, the difference that the charity makes. It really is.
Obviously, we're doing this round the clock challenge, supporting loads of local charities across the south. But why is it so important to your charity that you get support from us and from other people as well?
Well, it means everything, really. It means we can carry on existing. I mean, like almost all charities, we get no government funding at all. There are very few bad charities. Everyone's is a good cause, nearly everyone. But I think where we sort of plug a big gap, I don't feel the British are very good at talking about death and bereavement. We try and normalise the language around death when we're working with the children through their bereavement journey, because it can be a very confusing time. The language used, they're up with the stars, they passed on, we've lost him. To a young child, if you say, "I'm sorry, we've lost daddy," they'll think, well, why can't we go and look for him? So we do, I think, plug a gap with our support and with our sensitive training on how to deal with the bereavement, but also, and this is really important, how to look forward. Losing someone close to you doesn't have to define you for your rest of your lives. The children can still remember their special person, but still look to the future and fulfill their potential. And that's something we work, very carefully and sensitively to try and get the children to appreciate that.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for inviting us. It was lovely to be welcomed so warmly, and good luck for the 24-hour radio marathon. I'm glad you've
Thank
interviewed
you.
me at a reasonable time.